This is Mandy Leon, and you're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
You're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the interactive interview, courtesy of WrestlingEpicenter.com. All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Interactive Wrestling Radio here on WrestlingEpicenter.com. It is your host, James Walsh, joining you for the first time since our 500th episode just a couple of weeks ago. I know we've aired a teleconference or so in between this interview and that, but this is our first official broadcast back after the 500th. I want to thank everybody who was a part of that 500th episode and everybody who was a part of this show for 500 episodes leading into our rebirth here, our continuation of excellence here at WrestlingEpicenter.com. This week, we bring you a Ring of Honor Women of Honor. Oh man, I think you guys are going to be really excited to find this interview with the one and only Mandy Leon, who's going to be a part of the Ring of Honor Women of Honor Championship Tournament. Do you remember when we had Kelly Klein on our show about, 8 months ago maybe? It was about the end of spring, early summer 2017. We talked extensively about how Ring of Honor needs two things. They need a championship belt. Done. Next, and if anybody from Ring of Honor is listening, first of all, thank you guys for giving us this interview. We are certainly indebted to you guys for how kind you have been to our show. We are so grateful. But the other thing that you guys would benefit from is to stop segregating the women from the rest of the show. That's just been such a glaring thing that's been obvious. Now, obviously, Ring of Honor, the Women of Honor, took an absence after the initial wave of Women of Honor were a part of the show. But here we are now in 2018, and every other company's kind of got on the good ship here. And it seems like it's just been a step behind in that regard. So this is going to be a big step for Ring of Honor, having the championship finally for the Women of Honor. And, man, I feel really, really happy for those talent because Kelly Klein, Mandy Leon, two of my favorites, both of whom now have been on this show. Excellent, excellent. Are going to be in that tournament. So what else could you ask for? I wanted to there's a slight difference in the audio quality on the interview I wanted to address before we get to it. As you can hear, I'm right now doing my whole Mean Gene Okerlund thing. Should have introduced Mandy as my longtime personal good time friend or whatever the hell he used to say. The interview, I was wearing a headset and I forgot how much I've altered my breathing. I used to always do things just through the telephone because that's how Blog Talk did it. And I used to do it through a tape deck. Shows how old I am, right? So my breathing was all over the place on this thing. So I had to go back and edit it. You won't hear it as much, but you'll hear that there's a different quality of my sound because I was wearing a headset as opposed to doing my Mean Gene Okerlund, holding the microphone up to my mouth and then pulling it away when I'm going to breathe. So I sounded like Chuckles the chimp for a little while there. I don't know why. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this interview with the lovely and talented Mandy Leon, frontrunner for the Ring of Honor Women of Honor Championship. I would say it very possibly could come down to herself and Kelly Klein in the finals. They have been butting heads a little bit, and man, what a match that's going to be if that does happen. That's my pick for the finals of the Women of Honor Championship.
This is the pretty badass Kelly Klein, and you are listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
The Wrestling Epicenter has been around since 2002, and in that time, all these guests, everybody pictured, has been on our podcast. We're more than just a radio show, though, so check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for all your wrestling news and needs.
Hey guys, this is Taylor Hendrix, and you are listening to Wrestling Epicenter. Check it out.
Welcome back to Interactive Wrestling Radio. Right now on the Newsmaker line with us is a woman of honor from Ring of Honor, the one and only Mandy Leon. Mandy, are you with us?
Hello, I am here. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited to have you on too. So we got some questions about what's going on now in Ring of Honor, which, by the way, I think is so long overdue. But we got to do the however you want to phrase it, the chronological kind of stuff. So I wanted to start out by asking you, how does a woman, a young lady, decide to get involved in such a crazy world like professional wrestling?
Well, I've always been a fan of it since I was really like a kid, honestly. For my mom, she watched it a lot, and for me, it didn't stick with me. I loved it, but it didn't stick with me until I started seeing women later on, like Chyna and Lita and Trish, because to me they were just beautiful and in the ring and doing all these crazy things and just so powerful and dominating. And it was so inspiring to me at the time. And then throughout my career, of course, so many other athletes inspired me just through wrestling in itself, psychology-wise. But yeah, I mean, I'm just a passion for it and just clicking at a young kid and just being a fan and getting into it and wanting to pursue it myself as a dream and finding a strong passion for it.
Excellent. And you went to the Ring of Honor dojo. Your build is being born and raised in wrestling anyway, in the Ring of Honor dojo. Do you feel that training under those incredible trainers has given you an advantage into the world of Ring of Honor?
Yes. For me, when I first started wrestling, I wanted to train somewhere that I knew had credibility to them and someone, just trainer-wise, people that I knew that would be good trainers for me. I wanted to have good leverage behind me starting in the career of professional wrestling. And upon doing research, I found Ring of Honor, and I found that they were not too far from me. And upon just staying on them and contacting them consistently, they finally got back to me. And I met them in person and was lucky enough and fortunate enough to become one of their female students at the time. I was the only female student at the time, a few before me. And luckily enough, I got in. So it's a nice surprise to have that, like you said, that Ring of Honor name behind me as a student, and just to be born and raised and have that honor and respect in my blood. It means a lot. I think it does benefit me a lot as well. And I'm very, very honored to come from there.
Very cool. Now, the first time I really took notice of what you were doing was when you started feuding with Taylor Hendrix. And Taylor was on our show a number of times before she went to Ring of Honor. I guess my question is going to be, what was it like working with Taylor Hendrix and finally getting really some TV exposure, some real attention?
Yeah, that was a fun feud for me. That was one of my favorite feuds. I think both of us got to kind of just let our characters out and really just give it our all, especially with the no disqualification match. That was something that got a tremendous amount of feedback, and something that made me really happy as far as the outcome, other than the fact that I lost. But the feud was great, and I wish it could have kept going. It was one of my favorites for sure, and I'm excited for more feuds within Ring of Honor. But yeah, it was a lot of fun working with her.
Was the inference when you gave Ian Riccaboni the tarot card that you had murdered Taylor Hendrix?
No. Yeah, so that's just a ridiculous rumor that's online, apparently. No, so my character, so to say, is kind of just like people call the exotic goddess, kind of witchy, just mysterious kind of woman, I guess you can say. And the tarot card was just me saying as a cleansing of the division as far as the dishonorable ones. No means murder. That's just absolutely absurd. But I heard people say that, but I guess I can kind of understand. But no, in no way murder at all. No, it was just a cleansing of the division of dishonorable.
Cool. So we've been around a while. We've been doing this for about 15 years. And when we were on AM radio, we had Colt Cabana on. And this was before he went back as Scotty Griffin to WWE. And we asked about his WrestleMania moment and talked about how he was a guy in John Cena's entrance that was dressed as a gangster with the gun and firing the gun in the air and all that kind of stuff. And he kind of joked and made fun of us, made us feel like basically like a bunch of jackasses for asking. Um, Kind of hoping that you're not going to do the same thing, but I got to. You did have some TV exposure with WWE when you were one of the Rosebuds. What was it like being on that WWE Juggernaut and working with Adam Rose?
All right. Well, I won't pull a Colt Cabana on you, even though I love him. I think he's hilarious. That was fun. Yeah, that was during the really early stages of my professional wrestling journey, so to say, not so much career yet, because I was still a student of the game at that time and still very, very new, with literally maybe one or two matches under my belt since graduating the Ring of Honor dojo. So that to me at that time, I was just taking whatever I could get as far as experience and networking goes. And that was a huge opportunity for me at that time, again, with little experience, just to be in that environment and get that networking experience. And it was fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And it kind of got to the point where I was just a regular Rosebud. So I was on there a lot, and it was fun to travel with those guys, and it was fun to just learn and see the business aspect behind the scenes of what they do. And, yeah, that was a great experience for sure. It was a lot of fun.
We will circle back to the Women of Honor title, which I mentioned I think is so far it's just needed to be. It's needed to be for a while now, but we'll get back to that. But since we're on the subject of WWE, they're doing their Women's Royal Rumble match, and this is just it seems like a huge step for professional wrestling in terms of women. What is your take on the current climate? Ring of Honor having the world title coming into place for you guys, the Women's Royal Rumble. Impact has always featured the knockouts in prominent roles. What is your take on women having such a big role in wrestling these days?
I think it's amazing. I think, we announced the Women of Honor Championship tournament, and then the next day they announced the Royal Rumble. And I think it's two history-making events happening that, like you said, they're long overdue, and it's about time. I think it's great that there's two entities that are completely separate and doing what they love. We're doing what we love, WWE is doing what they love, TNA is doing what they love, and the fact that, in my eyes, at least, and within the company's eyes of Ring of Honor, like there's no competition between WWE and Ring of Honor. I think the fact a lot of people say, oh, how do you feel about WWE announcing a Royal Rumble the day after you guys announced the title match? What do you think about that? And it's just, like to me, it's like it's really no big deal. Again, it's two entities just doing what they love, and it's both long overdue. And the women's wrestling is so popular right now. It's, why wouldn't they have a women's Royal Rumble? And why wouldn't we finally have a women's title, So I think it's great. And like you said, women's wrestling is at an all-time high and just continuing to bring it. They're really bringing it. It's something people want to see. And I love now how driven women are in the business. I think a few years ago, maybe they kind of felt, and it kind of still is, but it kind of felt male dominated where women just didn't have a lot of opportunities. Whereas now, if you look at it, there's opportunities everywhere for women, and there's so many incredible talent out there. It blows my mind. You look back a few years ago, and there wasn't that many women on the independent scene. There was just a handful of women. Now you look at it, and there's a ton of talent just scratching and clawing for opportunities, and the competition, so to say, as far as being an athlete goes and getting those opportunities is at an all-time high, So I think it's amazing. I do. I think it's a historic time. I think it's inspiring. It's really a phenomenal thing.
Absolutely. It was about 8 months ago that we had on Kelly Klein, and we were talking about the need for a Women of Honor title. And,
Yes.
I made 2 points in that interview, kind of trying to drum home my view on things. And that was that you guys needed a belt. The other thing was that you guys need to be featured, not segregated off the TV show, not just having specials, but also be incorporated onto the Ring of Honor TV show. Is that something you guys are hoping to accomplish?
Yes, I think going into 2018, hopefully we are going to finally accomplish that. I think, especially with the tournament here now, I don't think that's something that's going to be a YouTube exclusive. I think that's something that hopefully is going to be aired on TV. As far as the championship goes, I think everything, in my opinion, was done the way it should have been. I love the fact that Ring of Honor didn't throw this in the fans' face. I think it took a little bit longer, but I think with the time and the character development and saying, hey, these are our girls, let's build them up, let's see where they go with their characters, let's see what storylines we can create, let's see if the fans actually like this, because you have to remember Ring of Honor has never had a women's division. They've had women in and out, every now and then, and but I kind of respect the fact they didn't throw it in the fans' faces. We built it up so strong to where the announcement of a women's title and people wanting it even more was just so special. So it's long overdue for sure, but it's finally here, and it's such an exciting thing. And I completely forgot your question because I just got lost in the moment that we actually have a title, and it gets me excited every time that we actually have a title. I was my train of thought.
My question was actually, do you guys want to be on TV? So you did answer it
Yes,
at the beginning of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yes, going 2018. Sorry, the title's so beautiful. That's like all I pictured in my mind while we kept saying it. But yes, TV-wise, absolutely. I hope in 2018, and I think I have a strong feeling that we will be featured on TV more, especially with the title. I mean, how can you not put the women on TV now that you have a beautiful gold belt? Yes.
All right. So Stardom girls are going to be involved in the tournament as well. The talent from Stardom as well. We mentioned Kelly Klein previously. Any thoughts on who you are looking forward to facing in the upcoming tournament?
Oh yeah, man. I have no idea who I am facing, but honestly, the names that they've announced so far are incredible, and I'm excited to face, honestly, all of the girls, if that's even possible, which I don't think it is, but if I can face all of them, I would. All of them I respect all of them. They're phenomenal athletes and have so much behind them that it'd be an honor for me to face any of them, especially the Stardom girls. I spent 3 months in Japan with Stardom, and it was a phenomenal experience, and the culture was amazing. And Mayu, Getsu, Hazuki, all of them, they're amazing. So I'm excited for them to come over here and compete.
I've seen a lot of those Stardom shows, and I watch the New Japan shows and things like that, and it seems like they're a little bit less than they used to be in terms of being like so appreciative and just like the clapping and that kind of stuff. They're a little bit more Americanized now, their fan base, but they still have that level where it's a different approach from the audience standpoint. What was it like for you? Predominantly working in the U.S. and then working in Japan. Is it a different kind of way that you have to approach things?
Yeah, it is a different kind of, I guess, culture of wrestling, so to say, when you're in Japan. The audience is very quiet and respectful, and I think they just respect the athletes in the ring and want to watch them. But they will chant for you if you reel them in, and then they will clap, but mostly very respectful and quiet. Yeah, it is very, very different because the American fans just, we go crazy. But yeah, over there it's very different.
All right,
it's
so
nice
here we
though.
are. You're about 4 years into your wrestling run here, and like we said, Ring of Honor's come so far with the title coming into the picture. The tournament obviously is the thing that's majorly on the horizon, but what else do you hope to accomplish in the near future in your professional wrestling venture?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the tournament and the title has always been my top goal since the first day of stepping into the Ring of Honor dojo, where everybody thought I was completely insane even saying that. And the fact that it's finally here is absolutely amazing. Now stepping into 2018, since that tournament is here, my top goal, honestly, is obviously winning the tournament and getting the title. Just continuing to work hard and train hard and just continue to prove people that if you put your mind to something, you can do anything. And, it's been over 20 years now, and there's never been a women's title. And it just takes one person to not give up, and then a group of individuals to work hard and finally get this going. It's fantastic that it's here. So right now, I think going into 2018, for sure, the number one goal is definitely winning the tournament and having the honor of calling myself the first ever Women of Honor champion. But we will see.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So I wish you guys the best of luck. Like I said, it just feels like you guys took a major step in the right direction by unveiling this title, and I'm hoping that the next step, which is not as big of a step as it should be, but getting yourselves on TV on the main show and integrating you guys into the main show is going to be such a big thing for Ring of Honor, and I think it's going to improve the overall perception of the company too, which I think is just incredible. So congratulations to you guys and the Women of Honor for taking this huge step.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
All right, before I let you go, last favor, if I can ask. Do you mind if I get a station ID? Just saying this is Mandy Leon, and you're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Yes.
Do you want me to do the Wayne?
Oh.
Oops, sorry.
Yes,
I was going to ask, did you want me to do the Wayne's World countdown thing? Okay. You go. We'll go in 5. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
This is Mandy Leon, and you're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Excellent. Hope that was good for you. I'll get this up online this weekend. I really do appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you so much. I had fun. Hopefully again soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Enjoying what you're hearing? Be sure and check out WrestlingEpicenter.com on social media at Facebook.com/WrestlingEpicenter, on Twitter at James Epicenter, and of course, WrestlingEpicenter.com for 24-hour news updates, our interview archives, and all the other information you've come to expect from the Wrestling Epicenter.